Good evening, everybody. My name is Dodgy Git, and this is the Dodgy Git Show. This is Dodgy Git Show 26.2. Yeah, we're going to try and watch this Falcon 9 launch together if you'd like to join me. Thanks for being with me. I hope you're well. Yeah, they delayed the time just a minute ago, so I'm just reorientating my screens again for you, and then yeah, we can view this launch together. Hopefully, we'll be about 55 minutes or so to go. Yeah, I'd like to give thanks to the guys running their channel there. SpaceX don't cover the flights anymore with commentary. They just see it as an everyday fucking flight. It is. That's all it is. So, yeah, welcome to the 21st century at long last. Not sure how long it'll take till we can go to flipping Hawaii on one, but you know, he's done some good things, hasn't he? Anyway, I hope you're all well wherever you are around the world. My name's Dodgy Git. I'm here in the UK and it's 20 to 4 in the morning. I've been longing it out, but hopefully we'll be able to watch this launch. So, well, hopefully you can join me. I'll put the screen on and then I'll make myself disappear so you can see the stats and listen to the guys talking. Yeah, thanks to everybody at Spaceflight Now. Hello to everybody there who's doing the broadcasts. I know you sometimes struggle with numbers on your servers, so we can divvy it up a bit. And if you're bored at all that, you can always check out Nautilus Live. Nautilus Live is always good. Yeah, quite chilled out, especially at 4 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, yeah, I hope you like the show. Thanks for joining me. If you could like, share and subscribe, that'd be great. Yeah, see how we go. We got that doodah up on there. Let me have a look. Let's get these words and pictures going.
5 seconds and counting.
Now we got 56.25 we're at. 56.25. Hope the audio's okay and the sound levels and everything are sort of equal. Yeah, blimey, well, what should you talk about when it's quiet? Tried sort of covering it a bit. He's got a spinny spinner on, he's got 4,293 people watching, so his server's rammed out again. He's trying his best. Yeah, blimey, these rockets, how the technology's moved on, eh? Development of all kinds of things, isn't it? That old printer, the metal printer's had a lot to do with the development of these new engines, I believe. Yeah, blimey, we could talk about all sorts about these engines. The metal printing is incredible. All the the boosters and that are all made out of printed boosters and that now, aren't they? Incredible tech. Not sure what the actual material's like they're printing with, but I suppose that's whatever you put in it, isn't it? I just hope we're making the same material as they can make in all the foundries and that new arc furnaces, isn't it? This geezer's having a real trouble with his spinny spinner, isn't he?
But we are keeping an eye on the rocket and the procedures out here. Looking for the start of fueling.
I'll minimise anything I'm doing so that we're yeah, he's fighting the buffering. I don't know if I am or not. I don't think I am.
Now T minus 52 minutes, 9 seconds and counting. I want to thank a new channel member, Callistia Lee, for joining at the mission specialist level. Appreciate you, Callistia. Reminder that our channel members are able to have access to both discounts at our online merch shop, as well as access to member-only videos. In addition to that, you can get 4K views of tonight's live launch operations. Did mention this towards the top of our broadcast, but just to reiterate, do really appreciate both the channel members as well as those who donate through the Super Chat donation. We are continually looking for ways to improve our coverage of the space industry here at Spaceflight Now. One of those is bolstering our ability to provide more 4K coverage. So a good chunk of channel membership as well as the YouTube Super Chats goes to enhance our tech here, bringing you even better views and videos to all of our wonderful viewers here on YouTube. So thanks to all of you for your support monetarily. It's going towards some nifty things in the future, and we're looking forward to enhancing our coverage. But again, a great way to support us even without making a monetary donation, though that is much appreciated. You can do so simply by hitting the like button. As we have about 4,600 folks watching tonight. It's a great way to help the YouTube algorithm allow more people to find our coverage as we get closer to the liftoff. Now targeting 50 minutes, just a little over 50 minutes from now. Now T minus 49 minutes, 46 seconds and counting. We're just about 11 or so minutes away from when the launch director would give the results of the go, no-go poll for the startup propellant load. And a T minus 35 minutes and counting is when both the RP-1 as well as the liquid oxygen will actually start flowing aboard the Falcon 9 rocket. Again, that is if SpaceX is ready to do so. Then we'll start seeing some venting, a little bit of vapors forming at the bottom of the Falcon 9, a good visual indication that that is underway, in fact. Earlier in the broadcast, we talked a little bit about trajectory of the Falcon 9 rocket. Let's talk about the target orbit for the Starlink satellites. After launch, the Falcon 9's upper stage will deliver those. Again, there are 22 Starlink V2 minis aboard this particular mission. They'll go 128 miles or 239 kilometers above the Earth's surface at an inclination of 43 degrees above the equator. And they'll use their Argon Hall thrusters over the following weeks and months to raise their operational orbit. As of today, there are more than 5,000 Starlink satellites that have been launched.
Some some interesting information.
And we always appreciate the
trajectory. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm Dodgy Git. This is a Dodgy Git show.
support of our channel members and those donating through the super chat feature. So one viewing is going to be from Central Florida on south, possibly some views up in the northern end of the state, possibly Georgia, but I would say not really much farther than that, unfortunately. But fortunately for you and for all those who are not here in the Sunshine State, that is why we're here, to both bring you the views and help make us all a little bit smarter about launch operations, what SpaceX is doing, as well as other folks that launch from the Cape. Just had a mission with United Launch Alliance earlier this month, and they're looking to weeks for the Project Kuiper constellation.
I don't know what's going on. It's whirly.
Now T-minus 45 minutes, 20 seconds in
45 minutes in counting, eh? Better hurry up with it, eh?
counting.
About 5,000.
I want to thank Juan Carlos Valdez for your $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Juan Carlos, for helping to support our coverage. And again, when you do make a super chat donation, we would love to answer questions that you might have or read some comments about the launch or other things going on in the world of space. Do our best to answer them as best we can. I'd love to bring more people into the conversation.
What have you got questions about space rockets about? On how high they go, how fast they go? Maybe into more detailed stuff like what's the part number for the seal for the left-hand turbos, fucking what's the name you thinking me Bob? So funny, I heard the other day as we were waiting for his thing to go round, somebody said the Mark 9 Spitfire, yeah, it was a brand new aeroplane. Like, well, it's a Mark 9 Spitfire, right? When there are 8 Marks before it that like led up to it. A bit like these engines, wouldn't they? Do engine development, you crack one ear, you redesign it so it doesn't crack there, and then it's chasing the next weakest link, isn't it? Yeah? These guys seem to have done their maths. Yeah. Well, there you go, school kids. If you don't know why you need maths at school, is a prime reason, right? Yeah. For the kid who don't like maths but like motorcycles, yeah, we need to do the calculation about boring out the cylinder, don't we? Yeah, for increase the cylinder capacity and all that. Yeah. It's not what we educate, is it? It's how we educate it. Yeah. I hope you're enjoying your life wherever you are, watching this rocket go up, thinking about all this technology we've developed between us all, how fragile it all is. Can easily crack, can't it? Some parts you can't put back together again. Yeah, there's all sorts going on in there, isn't there? Chemistry with the chemicals, there's heat, there's expansion and contraction, yeah, thermal this, yeah, no. All the metals it's made of, and the foundries that made the metals, the mines that the metals came from, all the fasteners. Remember the story of the countersink fastener? Good story. Yeah. Development of the boosters. Yeah. Do you never wonder why the booster don't melt? Yeah. Think where they pipe everything. Not as just hot as cold as well, eh? It's about thermal dynamics, isn't it? And fluid dynamics. Don't want a cavitation inside one of those doodads when it's going real quick, do you? Things must be spinning at some rate of knots, isn't it? All the pumps and that in there being spun round by hot stuff going by or cold stuff going by. It's going bang, going from cold to real hot pretty quick. It's incredible stuff. It is incredible stuff. I think they say 10,000 hours to master anything, they said, right? Yeah. Think of all the masters that are working on these things, yeah? Yeah, honed their trade over a long period of time, yeah, to produce this thing. It's going up and down like it's a 737 or an Airbus A320 or like one of them Sukhoi things. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I think these space rockets were amazing. Yeah. What do you think? Leave a thing and what's the name and a jobby whatnot in the thingy. Yeah, and then that like button, there's a like button there, you're supposed to push that or something when you watch stuff. Dunno, give us a thumbs up anyway if you like the content. Yeah, we're going to see if they can chuck this crate up in the air far enough to scatter the cans of Coke around in it, something like that. Must be quite a few cans of Coke up there by now, eh? Other brands of cola are available.
Now T-minus 40 minutes, 4 seconds and counting. We're just about a couple minutes away from when the SpaceX launch director would give the results of the go-no-go for the start of propellant load. Again, that is if SpaceX is continuing to target a T0 liftoff at 11:38 p.m., which at this point, all indications are that that is their intent tonight. Do want to go to one of our super chat questions from user Heavy Sandwich. First off, appreciate your support of our coverage here. Question is, how long was this mission planned for? This is the Starlink 6-17 mission. One in a continuation of the Starlink program, which has been going now for several years at this point. This particular booster supporting the mission is making its 17th flight, the first 17 flown booster of SpaceX fleet.
17th, eh? We're getting a drag.
We don't have an exact timeline for the manufacturing of these particular suite of Starlink V2 mini satellites. Again, more than 5,000 have been launched so far over the course of the last several years. So this is an ongoing rolling program as SpaceX gets ready to ramp up to its version 2 satellites.
Yeah, what I was going to say was you put a drag car down a drag strip 17 times and take the engine apart and look at it. Yeah, they've done that. Yeah, but yeah, 17 times. It's probably a bit like Trigger's broom a bit though, isn't it? Yeah, because it has been through the shop, I'm sure, or has it? Or is this the point? They give it a minimum look-see, goes, yep, is anything, is it serviceable? Yes, it's serviceable. Will it fire again? Yes, it'll fire again. Fucking chuck it back on then. Keep fucking running it till it goes pop and then chuck it away. Yeah, and get the next fucking, what is it, 1.2 out, innit? Like
At T-minus 37 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. Again, if the launch director has given the go for the start of propellant load, that will begin in just over 2 minutes from now at T-minus 35 minutes.
2 minutes till propellant load. They're going to see how much gas it gets as liquid as they get in the hull. Yeah. But they got to do that on site, like, haven't they? See? They're doing their chemistry lesson right now, or they will be in a few minutes, hopefully. We go, yeah, okay, that's cool. Chuck that gubbins in. Yeah? I'll say, yeah, cool, chuck that gubbins in. They'll do their chemistry thing going on and they'll pipe it all in there. Then you've got thermal expansion, contraction-y things going on with all different kinds of metals and materials and interfaces, haven't you? Yeah? It's clever stuff, kids. It is. Yeah. My show's generally on for children. Just a bit of advice, but yeah. Yeah, if you'd like to go and see my other videos, that would be great. Live shows, really. I'm focusing on the live shows. See how that works. There's some videos and shorts in there, but yeah, just a bit. That was when I was starting off. Let's see how we get on with this. Still buffering a bit, isn't it?
T-minus 36 minutes, 12 seconds and counting.
Oh, there we go.
Do appreciate this tracking view being brought to us by Chuck Briggs, so we'll be keeping an eye on that tracking camera during the launch. Again, still targeting a T0 liftoff at 11:38 p.m. as of right now. So in just over 30 seconds, if SpaceX is continuing to target 11:38, that'll be the start of propellant load on the Falcon 9 rocket. We'll be looking for signs of vapor forming around the bottom of the first stage as fueling gets underway. But again, if SpaceX has opted to not launch at 11:38 p.m., then they do have 3 additional backup times, the first of which comes at 12:28 a.m. Eastern, 04:28 UTC on September 20th. For those of you who maybe were not with us when we went through the launch countdown timeline, now's a good time to review that as we are hopefully within some of the milestones now. Again, fueling, if it is on track, will have gotten underway in the last 30 seconds or so. That being both the RP-1, the rocket grade carousel.
Sorry, let me just get myself out of the way here. Up to speed for you. Just so many
Ignition
people
command will
watching.
be issued at T-minus 3 seconds.
There we go.
If everything is on track at that point, all 9 Merlin engines will ignite. The flight computer will give the command for the hold down clamps to release the Falcon 9 at T0. Again, currently targeting 11:38 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. At T-minus 31 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. Do have note from SpaceX saying that all systems are looking good for tonight's launch. Weather has improved to 90% favorable for liftoff, so a good indication that fueling is in fact underway this time, which means SpaceX is committing to that T0
Okay, I was going to say
liftoff time at 11:38 p.m. Eastern. Again, that number 1060, becoming the flight leader tonight in SpaceX's fleet. It is at present tied with booster 1058, both of them having notched 16 mission flights earlier this summer. 1060 pulling ahead by 1 tonight. As we get into the final 30 minutes of the count, do want to thank some of our folks in the live chat who are helping to support our coverage through the Super Chat donation feature. So thank you to Richard Davis for your $5 Super Chat. Really appreciate it.
Well, yeah, I'll just say thanks to the space flight now, guys. Everybody there doing it. 105,000 subscribers. You're doing well, guys. Thanks very much. Thanks for giving us the feed to be able to just display it to the world about what's going on. It's incredible, really, isn't it? Eh? Propellant going in. What time did he say he was going to do that? Sure, it was a minute, innit? Probably a man walking across there now. Start turning the tap on, wouldn't he? Probably a special key in and turn the tap on. Think of all the engineers and the manufacturers of all the components that go into this thing. It was a car wizard the other day. He took something apart that was new. He got delivered a brake caliper, I think. And when he took it apart, he noticed that the seals that they'd put in it were seals made from a length of steel that had been glued together rather than actual moulded seals. So, a seal isn't a seal. Not every seal is a seal. It's not necessarily the same. Yeah, you can use them for replacement, get your own items, but I wouldn't. Yeah, but it depends how big it is, I suppose. Surface areas and glue. Want to glue anything together, you need to rough up the surface, don't you? And you want to glue metal to composite. How do you do that? Shiny metal to fiberglass or something, yeah? Yeah, how do you do all that? Make it rough, don't you? How do you make it rough? All sorts of ways. Yeah. Anyway, I'm Dodgy Git. I'm chatting over this quiet period at 26 minutes and 50 seconds before SpaceX.
Now T-minus 26 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. Starting to see a lot more vapor forming on the Falcon 9 first stage. It's more good indication that fueling continues to move along well. Do another question from Heavy Sandwich with another $2 super chat donation. First of all, thank you for the support. Question is, how many satellites are planned for the Starlink constellation? At this point in time, SpaceX does have regulatory approval to launch up to 12,000 Starlink satellites.
12,000.
And they are seeking permission to add about 30,000 more on top of that.
42,000 satellites. What are they up to? 42,000 satellites. Why? $42,000. Who's going to control? AI's going to have to control these, or we're going to have a. Well, will we? Will we have a space debris problem? 42,000 of anything floating around in all kinds of. It's a bit worrying, isn't it? There's a lot of them, isn't it? They use the sort of same idea as drones talking to each other. You turn left, I turn left. You turn right, I turn right. Like birds. You have a swarm of Starlink satellites.
The T-minus 25 minutes and counting.
Mad, isn't it?
Cryogenic helium now being loaded onto the storage tanks on the second stage.
When he says
it's also been flowing into the first stage for about 5 minutes or so. The helium is important because it's used to pressurize the main propellant tanks during flight.
Right, so it uses helium to push out the other contents, yeah, of a head of
Taking
pressure.
Another peek at the live chat, I want to thank Steve Pavitatis. Apologies, Steve, if I mispronounced your last name, but joining us at the pad leader level. Becoming a channel member allows you to get access to 4K views of our live launch coverage for
Come on, baby. That's it. Keep pumping the steam. There we go.
That Great way to get a comment into our show as well. Bill saying your coverage is appreciated. Checking us out.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. Hi guys at Space Flight now.
From
Thanks,
Melbourne,
guys.
Florida. So,
Good job. Buffering's a bit fucking fierce, but there you go. My language is terrible, but here we go. We're gonna fire this crate up in the sky. Add to the, was it 12,000 thing they want up there? And we'll end up with 42,000. That's a lot, isn't it? 42,000 things up there. Anyway, interesting. Come on. Whirly gig keeps going round and round, isn't it? Really annoying.
now just 22 and a half minutes away. In a couple minutes, we should be seeing the so-called big vent from the strong back, another good visual indication that fueling is proceeding nominally. Again, if you are just joining us or have joined recently,
Literally don't know what it's doing, does it?
just a programming note. Reason we're not hearing some of those call-outs from SpaceX is because SpaceX is not providing mission audio for its launch operations until about the last 5 or so minutes before flight. Just want to make a quick note of that.
So they do, but they don't do all this run up to it.
Now T-minus 21 minutes, 47 seconds and counting.
21 minutes, 45.
Now T-minus 20 minutes, 8 seconds and counting, and we see the start of the so-called big vent there. Great indication that things are moving on track for a liftoff time of 11:38 p.m. this evening. Again, because SpaceX is in the process of fueling the Falcon 9, that means they are committed to that 11:38 T0 liftoff time. If they do need to call a hold for whatever reason, they would stand down from tonight's launch window, look to tomorrow as a backup. However, because there is some tropical weather off the coast of Florida, out in the Atlantic, launch weather tomorrow notably worse.
It doesn't keep this live tab for very long at all before it just drags away. Anyway.
Now coming up on T-minus 16 minutes, 30 seconds. In about 30 seconds or so, liquid oxygen will start flowing onto the second stage of the Falcon 9 rocket. We did see the start, the duration, and the conclusion of the big vent. So things are continuing to proceed well with the fueling of the Falcon 9 rocket. As I did mention, there have been more than 5,000 Starlink satellites that have been launched to date. One of the best trackers of that is Jonathan McDowell, who's an astronomer at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. He's also an astronomer who works on the Chandra Observatory. By his count, there have been 5,113 Starlink satellites that have launched to date. Again, not counting the 22 that are on tap to launch tonight.
One thing I learned there, close the chat. If the chat's running in there
of those
page, it clogs it up.
His determination is that 4,734 of them are currently working.
Yeah, hi everyone. If you've just joined me, my name's Dodgy Git. This is the Dodgy Git Show. Dodgy Git Show 26. It's night time. It's 4:30 in the morning in the UK. I'm watching this old crate get chucked up in the sky. Yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope you like space.
T-minus 14 minutes, 35 seconds and counting. We've talked a little bit about the trajectory of this mission, what's on board. Let's talk about the rocket itself.
Yeah. Listening, folks.
Of course, this is SpaceX's workhorse, the Falcon 9 rocket, standing at 70 meters tall, 229 feet, has a diameter of 3.66 meters, or about 12 feet. Most of it is made up of the first stage, is the bottom 2/3 of the rocket. Today's first stage booster has flown 16 times, looking for number 17 on this mission. Its designated tail number is 1060 in the SpaceX fleet. Base of the rocket, you can see in that inset image on the right-hand side of your screen, there are the 9 Merlin engines, which burn rocket-grade kerosene and liquid oxygen, producing 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Around the engine compartment are the black carbon fiber landing legs that will be used to land the first stage on the drone ship. Again, tonight, SpaceX is using the drone ship a shortfall of gravitas. Just above the first stage is the inner stage. It's a composite structure, consists of an aluminum honeycomb core surrounded by carbon fiber. The image on the right, you can see the deployable hypersonic grid fins. These are titanium winglets that help provide stability and steering for the Falcon 9 as it falls back through the atmosphere like a dart towards that drone ship. And at the top of the inner stage are 3 mechanical latches that attach to the second stage. At first stage mid-engine cutoff, or MECO, high-pressure helium that we mentioned a little bit earlier. It's used to release those latches, and 4 pneumatic pushers ensure a clean separation. Second stage engine nozzle is also safely housed inside the inner stage adapter until stage separation. Speaking of which, with the second stage powered by a single modified Merlin engine called the Merlin Vacuum Engine, or MVAC. It's equipped with a large nozzle that is optimized for burns in the vacuum of space. It produces more than 200,000 pounds of thrust. It will be fired twice on today's flight to place the 22 Starlink V2 mini satellites into their intended orbit. Like the first stage, the MVAC engine on the second stage burns the same propellant mix, that being RP1, or kerosene, and liquid oxygen. After payload deployment, it will ignite for a third time for a deorbit burn, driving that upper stage back into the atmosphere, where it will burn up, helping to eliminate the risk of unnecessary space debris. And finally, as we approach 11 and a half minutes before launch, we have the star of the show, the payload fairings, which encapsulate the 22 Starlink V2 mini satellites. It's made up of carbon composite material and is 13.1 meters, or 43 feet tall, about 5.2 meters, or 17.1 feet in diameter. The 2 halves of the payload fairing will be recovered, as they most often are, by a recovery vessel. Again, tonight they are using Doug to scoop those out of the ocean and then return them back to Port Canaveral for refurbishment and reuse. Same with the first stage booster after it lands on the drone ship shortfall of gravitas. Now T-minus 11 minutes and counting.
Yeah, I won't go there. Enjoy it, guys. How long we got? 10 minutes or so, innit? I've run out of coffee, so you better hurry up. Yeah, where are you guys, guys and girls, calling from around the world? Where you watching from? Put in the comments below underneath. See if you tell me if you like the show and you like rockets, and you know, you might be 95, you might be 9, you might be 39, you might be any 9, you might be any other number 2. Yeah. You into rockets, science, engineering, technology, chemistry, yeah, biology on new worlds, the geography of another planet, the history of the solar system.
Now T-minus 10 minutes and counting. Taking a look at our live chat here. I have a $10 super chat donation from Natalie Namid. Thank you so much, Natalie, for supporting our coverage. She says, it's always good to see boosters getting reused. Sustainability is something that the space industry should be striving towards. That is certainly SpaceX's mantra, is reuse and pushing towards a more airport-like dynamic with the reuse of their rockets. This one flying for the 17th time, so definitely one for reuse. This particular booster, again, tail number 1060, becoming the flight leader with the launch of the Starlink 6-17 mission tonight.
Yeah, sorry, where in the world are you watching from? If you'd like to put a comment in the comments box, it'd be great. If you'd like to like, share, and subscribe the Dodgy Git channel with everybody. You know, check out more live shows. What are we on? We're on 26 now. See, you've got 25 other ones to go and watch. See, maybe start with a welcome show and move on from there. Yeah, they're all quite varied. All contain me waffling about all kinds of things. Yeah, might find some points of interest or conflict or agreement. But yeah, I hope you're all well. I hope your family.
T-minus 8 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. Did
8
mention
minutes.
this is a record-breaking flight for this particular booster, tail number 1060. So let's blitz through the flight history while we have some time before its launch. Its first mission was back on June 30th, 2020, launching a GPS-3 satellite. Its next couple of launches were for the Starlink constellation, as is this current one. Those coming up on September 3rd as well as October 24th, both of 2020. It would next fly on January 8th, 2021, launching the Turksat 5A communications satellite. The next three missions, Starlink L18, Starlink L22, and Starlink L24, again for the Starlink constellation, on February 4th, March 24th, and April 29th. The next mission was Transporter 2 on June 30th, 2021. This is one of SpaceX's rideshare operations. It then went on a tear of Starlink missions. Starlink 4-3 on December 2nd, 2021. It was the last launch for this for this booster of that year. And on January 19th, 2022, Starlink 4-6, Starlink 4-9 on March 3rd, Starlink 4-14 on April 21st, and Starlink 4-19 on June 17th. It then launched a pair of communication satellites, Galaxy 3334, back on October 8th. That was its last mission of 2022. And then coming into this year, it launched another rideshare mission, Transporter 6, on January 3rd. And with its most recent flight, Starlink 5-15, it became tied with booster tail number 1058 as the two flight leaders, both with 16 missions under their belt. Now booster 1060 about to pull into the lead of that race with its 17th flight tonight.
Ooh, it's a bit blowy outside.
Now about 5.5 minutes left before launch. Do have another super chat question from Transdimensional. Appreciate the $10 super chat donation.
Generous, isn't it?
Question is, what's the significance of launching rockets off of Florida's coast anyway? Well, to wind back and look into a bit of history, as the country was looking for a place to launch rockets that was close to the equator, where you could send the rockets in an easterly direction over water. They did look at a number of places, including near Brownsville, Texas, where SpaceX does have its Starbase test site, eventually landing here in Cape Canaveral back in the mid-1900s. And we've seen quite a bit of history since then. As mentioned earlier in the broadcast, this will be the 199th orbital launch from this particular pad, Slick 40, Space Launch Complex 40, over at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
RP1 load is complete. Strongback retract has started.
And you hear the call-outs now from SpaceX as they are starting to provide the mission audio. Strongback retract has begun.
Here we go, guys. Listen up. I'll move myself around if I'm in the way.
You can see the clamp arms opening just beneath the payload fairings there on the Falcon 9 rocket.
There you go, 4 minutes.
Transporter erector or the strong back will then tilt back about 1.5 degrees away from the Falcon 9 and stay in that position until liftoff.
I'm gonna put myself over here, and I'm gonna.
At that point, it will lean back much more rapidly, clearing the way for the Falcon 9 to leap off the pad. Now T-minus 3.5 minutes before liftoff.
I'll try and stay here because it generally heads to the right of the screen when it takes off, I believe.
And as we're approaching the final few minutes of the count, in order to help us reach a few more people, help spread our coverage,
Are you getting excited?
if you could do us a big help and just hit the like button, share the stream, help more people find it as we get close to the moment of history for this particular booster, making its 17th flight, becoming the flight leader for SpaceX's fleet.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
3 minutes.
The call out stage 1 LOX loading now complete as we are under 3 minutes left to lift off.
Bit of anticipation, isn't it?
Now T-minus 2 minutes 30 seconds and counting.
What do they say? Godspeed.
In about 45 seconds or so, we should hear a call out for LOX load complete, at which point the Falcon 9 will be fully loaded with 1 million pounds of propellant. Now less than 2 minutes.
They'll probably come up with all the split screen and speed and
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And altitude.
And we hear that call out, stage 2 LOX load incomplete.
So
Falcon 9 fully fueled.
I'll move myself out of the way of the screen when we're
seeing some of that venting now, the launch pad, as SpaceX is purging the strong back propellant lines prior to launch. Now T-minus 1 minute 20 seconds.
Ground gas closeouts.
As we approach the final minute of the count, again at T-minus 1 minute, the Falcon 9's flight computers will take control. Stage 1 and 2 will pressurize for flight. The onboard computer will perform checks of the first stage engine steering system. Things continue to move on track for an on-time launch of the Falcon 9 rocket at 11:38 p.m. Eastern, 03:38 UTC. Now 50 seconds left in the count.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
good stuff in it, eh? Yeah.
Coming up next, we should hear the call out that Falcon 9 is cleared to launch.
Let's push us to where we can go, right? Rather than dragging our feet.
LD, go for launch.
And you hear the confirmation launch director saying this Falcon 9 is go to launch. So let us enter now the last 25 seconds before booster 1060 makes history for SpaceX as the first booster to reach 17 flights. Now 15 seconds left in the count.
I'll see you on the other side. I'll come back once we're on the ground again.
And here we go. 10,
Godspeed.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine ignition. And liftoff. Liftoff of the Starlink 6-17 flight. This is the 17th mission for this booster, tail number 1060. Now the flight leader of SpaceX's fleet.
I think you want to remember the tail numbers. They'll start.
Falcon 9 is through the tower, pitching down range, climbing away from Cape Canaveral, heading southeast.
Good burn.
Let's listen to the roar of those 9 Merlin engines, now 30 seconds into flight.
Crackle.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Rips the air apart.
1 minute into the flight.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Yeah, that call, or Falcon 9, now supersonic, traveling faster than the speed of sound, coming up on
In a minute.
hitting max Q,
Minute
or reaches the
and
point of
10
maximum
speed.
aerodynamic pressure on the
How many
vehicle.
tons does it weigh? Somebody do the maths about putting, what is it, meters
Hear that
per
call
second
up
per
there?
second without.
Got about a minute left on the burn of the first stage.
Almost lost the cam. They did, not me. What's going on there? See, kids, now
Falcon 9 rocket now traveling faster than 2,600 kilometers per hour.
Impact shell has started.
How's that air pressure
Nominal
drop? See?
trajectory.
You got the same amount of gas coming
Rocket
out
moving
that
along the
engine
nominal
burning,
trajectory at an altitude of
so
about
that it can
26
expand into more
kilometers.
space, yeah, because it's less pressure. Yeah, there's lots and lots of science going
Now
on.
2 minutes
there.
into flight, approaching the point of main engine cutoff, or MECO. The 9 Merlin engines will shut down. That'll be followed by the stage separation and ignition of the upper stage. Jetson of the payload fairings comes following that.
Here we go.
Again, the 2 payload fairing halves will be recovered in the Atlantic Ocean by SpaceX's recovery vessel. Tonight they are using Doug.
Dug the boat.
Now about 2.5 minutes into flight.
Love it. I love these views. They're incredible, eh? Absolutely incredible. Here we go. Chopped a bit
Main
off.
engine cut off.
Bin it.
Stage separation confirmed.
No, don't bin it. Let's be clever.
And you see on your screen and the call up for stage separation.
Back
Got the
ignition.
long nozzle on then. There's a shorter version out of nozzle.
You see a
right,
nice
see the
view of
nozzle
the
there?
NVAC engine, both on the
Yeah.
onboard cameras from the right-hand side of your screen, as well as from within the Falcon 9 first stage.
Again,
You
kids, that
see
ain't
the hypersonic
melting.
grid fins now deploying, preparing to
Oh.
slow down the Falcon 9 rocket and guide it toward the drone ship. A short fall of gravitas out in the Atlantic.
That cone isn't melting because it's got liquid, cryogenic cold liquid going through it. There we go. We chucked off the nose cones. We'll collect them in a bit. If they give them an X-ray, make sure they're not delammed. Engine burning fine, isn't it?
Now
See?
3.5 minutes into this mission.
Where's the back end gone, and they're going to show us that? Like, what's it
Coming
doing?
up in
It's
just a
still going
little
up or
over
down?
2 minutes.
Still going up, but it's slowing down,
Will
right?
be the start of the entry burn on the first stage. That burn will help slow the first stage's descent and reduce heating on the vehicle as
Only
it encounters
10
friction
miles
from the
between them.
atmosphere. As you saw before it lifted off, there's quite a bit of soot as the rocket is flying back through the atmosphere. It starts to build up a little bit on the outside of the rocket, gives it some of its distinct character. You can tell as some of these boosters fly more and more, they get
dirt clouds.
Trajectory.
a little more sooty, a little more
Grubby on land.
definition to them, if you
Give it a
will.
wash. Book it in the wash
Now
bay.
4.5 minutes into flight.
You'll need that. Why isn't there a wash bay for it? You need loads of staff, and you'll need to train them all in there for the wash bay. Very important role, man. Yeah, need acid to get all the crap off, and then you need to wash it off so the acid
Now
don't
4
eat the
minutes,
bloody
46
thing.
seconds into this flight.
Yeah, properly.
Booster has reached apogee, is starting to make its descent now.
Those people are valuable, actually. People that do that hard.
See that on the
manual
left-hand side of your screen.
make all this stuff happen.
That altitude meter now starting to plummet.
There you go. Come back down. We got 112, 111. There we go. We're falling again. And we
Acquisition of
speed up
signal,
again.
Bermuda.
We'll just rapidly speed up when it is falling.
Now 5 minutes, 15 seconds into this flight.
Front end shooting off at a rapid rate of knots.
Coming up on the start of the entry burn in less than a
But
minute
it
from
ain't
now.
going up. So we're just going along. Yeah, going up a little bit, but we're going along with the front end. Yeah,
Start of that entry burn
chasing,
coming at T
chasing
plus
the orbit.
6 minutes, 10 seconds.
Back end's flinging down, isn't it? Like
So you can
that.
view the first stage booster on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right, that is the Merlin vacuum engine continuing to power the second stage.
Power. Vacuum engine. See, it works in a vacuum. It's just, if you tried to run that engine on the ground, it probably wouldn't even work at all because there's 14.7 psi of air pushing on you and everything
Now
around
about 5
us.
seconds away from the start of the
And
entry
we'll be
burn.
pushing on whatever's trying to make that
Again, our
thing
countdown
operate,
clock
so
is
it wouldn't
in
be
real
as
time. What you
efficient.
see at the bottom of your screen is SpaceX's clock on a bit of a delay. So that's why there's about a 10, 11 second discrepancy.
Stage 1 FTS.
And that's why there's 2 rockets, yeah.
And you see that on
Want
your
to
screen at
get
the
it
start
up
of the
there.
entry burn.
Once you're up there, then you've got a different set of parameters.
So last about 22 seconds on this burn.
Use a different blower, won't we? Old donkey's different. Horses for courses, mate. I hope you're enjoying this live show. I'm Dodgy Git. This is the Dodgy Git Show, watching the 17th launch of a Falcon 9
Stage 2
SpaceX
FTS.
rocket booster.
And good callouts on the end of the entry burn. Setting up the landing burn, coming up at T plus 8 minutes, 6 seconds into flight. Again, we saw the liftoff of Falcon 9 first stage booster 1060 for the 17th time. It is also correspondingly going for its 17th landing, when it will officially become the flight and landing leader for SpaceX's fleet of Falcon 9 first stage boosters. SpaceX has certified its boosters up to 20 flights.
That's interesting.
As the company has said, it is pushing the envelope and testing the boosters and some of the technology aboard the Falcon 9 rocket, principally using the Starlink missions, since SpaceX owns both the payload as well as the launch vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that call out that stage 1 is now transonic, traveling below the speed of sound as it continues to make its descent towards the drone ship. Short fall of gravitas.
Terminal guidance. Stage 1 landing burn.
You hear the call out for the start of the stage 1 landing burn. You see that there on the left-hand side of your screen. The drone ship should come into view momentarily. We should see onboard cameras from the drone ship on the right-hand side.
It's ever so clever, isn't it? I love this landing stuff. Some of the views they've had. This is a bit breaker today, but some of the images we've had.
You see the landing legs are deployed.
Go on. Straight in the middle there.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Stage 1 landing.
And a great touchdown.
Thank you very much,
of
Captain.
booster 1060, having made its 17th trip up to and back from space.
Has landed. Thank you very much, sir. Can I please have a cappuccino?
Just about 9 minutes into flight.
Expected loss of signal, Cape.
Impact shutdown.
And you heard the call out for SCS-1. or SECO-1. Second stage engine cut off.
So they're cruising up there now.
That sets up the Falcon 9 second stage up for a coast phase up until T plus 53 minutes, 31 seconds and counting.
50 odd minutes.
Again, because SpaceX, with the exception of the 5 minutes leading up to the count and through SECO-1, is not providing mission audio or telemetry data. Unfortunately, we're not able to continue following this mission live with you through some of those main events through payload deployment.
Right, yeah. You heard the guy, didn't you? Chap there on Space Flight Now. Thank you very much to everybody there for what you produce, how you produce it, and how you allow people to like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. Thanks for the borrow of your content. I hope it's all okay. I just yeah, I'm using your display there as a way for me to learn about how to communicate with others. Yeah, I think this is incredible. I think this is incredible technology we're all able to use and interact together with, and hope we all learn from it and from each other from it. And isn't it incredible we can throw things in the sky like that, eh? And then land them again as well. See, so what is it, about 10-minute round trip? Yeah, none of this hours and hours and hours. Yeah, the masses are going to be queuing up for it soon, aren't they? Like they do for holiday things to Malaga or wherever you go on holiday. Where do you go on holiday? Where do you go on holiday? Yeah, but, and if, and however, if you have enjoyed the Dodgy Git Show, and if you've enjoyed listening to me and what I've got to display to you all, present in the manner I do, if you liked all that, then yeah, let me know. Like, share and subscribe, it helps, because yeah, gets the word about, doesn't it? Tell your friends. There's this lunatic on the internet being a right old, yeah, but he likes his satellites, and he's always liked space technology. Yeah, I once saw the space shuttle on the back of the 747 going out of Fairford in England. Yeah, I was 6 years old on the way to a school trip. I was holding my friend's hand. Yeah, and we looked up. It was the most incredible thing I'd seen. So I watched the shuttle program and the disasters and the time delays and all that. So I'm very much into what's going on now and how it's magically been able to be evolved by people with a positive outlook on doing things and being productive about moving forward. Yeah, we may look back at these times and think of people such as this, like Brunel, yeah, and other great thinkers and builders of our times. Yeah, I always find a rocket launch quite fun. Sort of a bit of a build up in there, and then it's a bit of, oh, it's off the ground, there's a bit of relief. And then they separate and they go their own stuff. And then they land and one goes where it needs to go and the other one stays where it is, isn't it? It's ever so clever though. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed show 26.2 of the Dodgy Git shows. I'm Dodgy Git, and I'll let you watch the end of this little presentation, and then I'll bid you adieu and farewell, etc., etc. Yeah, thanks for joining me. There you go. And then one of these, yeah, I'll let it run for a couple of minutes, and then I'll see you again, hopefully. If you'd like to go and check out my other videos, that would be great. There's some crazy content. Yeah, you might want to wind your politician or your neighbour up with some of it. Yeah, it might make you really angry. Yeah, say, God, that bloke's fucking maniac. Yeah, right, Dodgy Git. Yeah. Anyway, I'll leave you to look at some stats he's got on the screen there, and then I'll be clicking out. So, share the love. Yeah, help your neighbour, and do someone a favour. I'm Dodgy Git. See you later.